SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
SportsBeat Saturday is live. I'm Sam Farnsworth. We're teamed up with Spencer Linton this weekend. Great to have you joining us for a loaded weekend show that we've got coming your way, including a Utah Jazz bounce back special at Disneyland, a new coach for the New York Knicks, and day 2 of the modified Major League Baseball season.
We've waited more than 4 months for a Saturday like this, as in a Saturday full of sports, basketball and baseball, working in socially distanced harmony. And don't forget Utah native Tony Finau playing for big money on the PGA Tour again. Sam, enough setup. Let's bring the heat.
Yeah, let's
and Jazz.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, 2 nights ago, you could easily see the Jazz. They were still kicking off a bit of that rust from a 4.5-month layoff. Today, the second of 3 scrimmages to help them get ready for the NBA restart, which happens in just 5 days.
Head coach Quinn Snyder challenging his team to shoot more threes in today's matinee exhibition special. So naturally, the guy who doesn't shoot threes had a monster game. Enter Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, no doubt. Rudy is one of the most efficient offensive players in the NBA, and that's because a lot of his opportunities, well, they come right at the rim, right? How about Mike Conley setting him up nicely for the first dunk there in the first quarter? Donovan had a special connection with Rudy as well on that alley-oop. Then on defense, you know, when he's playing well at one end, it translates to the other end, blocks the ball, and then back it goes the other way. Another inside bucket after he cleans up the glass. Royce O'Neal feeding off it as well, slicing down the lane for the dunk. Later on, Emmanuel Mudiay, he can't control it, loses it off the glass, but of course, Rudy's there on cleanup duty to put it back in for 2 more. Big first quarter for Rudy. He had 11 points in the first quarter.
All right, on to some second quarter fun. The vertical attack continues. O'Neal lobbed to Gobert for 2. Then watch this beautiful basketball. Jordan Clarkson on the break to Mudiay. Finds Mitchell. And bang, bang, bang. Jazz up 4 just like that. Donovan then sharing with Rudy. It's a professional relationship, folks. Gobert throws down. Donovan did have his rusty moments, but the hustle, well, that's in full midseason form. Behind the back save to Jordan Clarkson, then to O'Neal for 2 more. Game tied at 47 entering halftime.
All right, in the second half, you know, Donovan doesn't find that, or he does find that touch from downtown once again, catch and shoot in transition. But do you remember how that whole Donovan and Rudy drama went in the offseason? Yeah, I don't remember either. Another pretty lob for the easy dunk between those two. Question I'm having is Mike Conley going to be the one to pick up the scoring slack with Boyan out? He led the team with 15 shots in this game, made 7 of those. He was second on the team in scoring. Mike Conley had 17 points against the Heat.
More Jordan Clarkson, please. He's my early pick for 6th man of the year, Sam. Clutch off the bench again. He had 17 points, including those 3. George Niang also effective off the bench, channeling his inner Clarkson. Big-time fourth quarter shots from distance. How about George? The Jazz hold out the Heat 101-99. What a difference a few days can make, especially when your stars rediscover some of that chemistry.
You know, I thought both Mike and Donovan had great patience in the lane. Mike had a couple really, really good floaters. Donovan had a couple pull-ups. So when people do stay with Rudy, those guys are able to finish. And a lot of times, because of their patience in the lane, they were drawing people. And then they had Rudy for the lob.
Yeah, run the offense through Rudy, maybe? I don't know. Well, in other NBA exhibition games today, the Lakers were facing the Magic. And did LeBron become an old man in quarantine? Because I see gray on the beard there. Certainly has a young man's vision. Finds JaVale McGee for the dunk. And you know what? At the offensive end of the floor for him, this isn't old man game either. Slicing in, scoops with the left hand for 2. LeBron had 20 points and 7 assists. Kyle Kuzma led the Lakers with 25. Lakers got the win 119-112.
How about Milwaukee? That's Algonquin for the good land, if you were wondering, Sam. The Bucks, still beasts of the East, taking on Sacramento in a bubble friendly, and Milwaukee unleashes an offensive assault on the Kings. 80 points in the first half. 80! Led by Giannis Antetokounmpo. Listen to his halftime stat line. 15 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. The Bucks made 23-pointers as a team, pulled the starters at half, and cruised to an 8-point exhibition victory over Sacramento. Side note, former Jazzman Kyle Korver led all scorers with 22. Yes, we still love you, Kyle. Hey, the New York Knicks, not in Orlando, and will miss the playoffs for a 7th straight season. But they do have a new coach. Several sources reporting Tom Thibodeau is finalizing a 5-year deal with the storied yet much maligned franchise. The 62-year-old Thibodeau has a .589 win percentage and 8 seasons as an NBA head coach. Is he the answer for a franchise desperate to regain some level of respect?
I don't know if they have any answer for that franchise, for a matter of fact. All right. After contending for a win last week at the Memorial, but still coming up short, Tony Finau decided to part ways with his longtime caddy. This weekend, he had Bruce Summerhays on the bag. Has it made a difference? Well, he's contending once again at the 3M Open, the third round of the 3M Open today. Finau at hole number 8. The birdie putt drops. That's on the 8th green. His approach on 9. He's going right at the stick. And look how pretty that is. Leaves it within a couple of feet of the hole. Yeah, he's going to go back-to-back for birdies on back-to-back holes. Finau finishes 2 under for the day. He's 13 under after 3 rounds, 2 strokes behind Michael Thompson for the lead. All right, Major League Baseball, they had a big opportunity this summer, and I think they blew it. They had the opportunity to be the only show in town for close to a month, but the inability to agree to terms between the league and players, well, it put the 2020 season in jeopardy for a bit.
Hey, Sam, let's focus on the positive, right? At least it's back. This week, the moment baseball fans had been hoping for, finally upon us. The stadiums, well, they're empty. Umpires and some players wearing masks, but hey, it's back. At least it's back. After throttling the Orioles on opening day, that's putting it lightly, the Boston Red Sox look to pick up their 2nd win of the season, but Baltimore jumped ahead early. Birdland loaded bases for Renato Nunez, and he delivers with a 2 RBI double. O's, they score 5 in the first 2 frames. Best play of the game comes defensively for the Red Sox. Jackie Bradley Jr., Superman. Sox get the highlight, but the Orioles get the win. 7-2 your final.
The Rockies and Rangers. This is the inaugural season at the Rangers' new ballpark, but the fans don't get to enjoy it. What better way to break it in, though, than with a homer? Not today. Garrett Hampson flashing the leather, though, saying, nah, that's not going to happen. Rockies would score first in the 4th inning. Matt Kemp punches one the other way. That brings in Nolan Arenado. Then how about this tag by Trevor Story? You're out of there. Just barely catches Elvis Andrus. Rockies do get the win, though, 3-2, their first win of the season.
Sam, are these fans in the stands at the friendly confines? Don't be confused. These are computer-generated fans, courtesy of Fox Sports. At the friendly confines, not friendly today for the Cubbies. Down 3-1 in the 5th. Justin Smoke off the scoreboard for the home runs. 4-1. Then Christian Yelich, a shot to dead center. That's worth 2 more. The Brew Crew wins 8-3.
All right, how about some more offense? This time, courtesy of Paul Goldschmidt, he takes this pitch and, well, he sends it to Big Mac land. It's 1-0 for the Cards. Let's go to the 7th inning now. 3-1 game. Paul DeJong delivers with a bases loaded 2 RBI single. St. Louis gets the big win, 9-1.
Twins and White Sox masked up, ready to roll in Minnesota and the south side of Chicago. What's the best way to social distance on the diamond? How about home runs? The White Sox did plenty of that today. Eloy Jimenez gets started off. Then Edwin Encarnacion. Boom! He had 2 today. 5 dingers for the White Sox. They win 10-3.
All this baseball feels like Christmas morning, right? Especially right there. After going almost 4 whole months with no live sports, the Philly fanatic agrees, dressing up as Santa. The Phillies brought some presents, too. Didi Gregorius with the solo shot, then a 2-run bomb from Phil Gosselin in the 6th makes it 3-1. Gosselin hit 2 home runs in the game, and the Phillies get the win 7-1.
How fantastic is this? AL East action between the Blue Jays and Rays. And is it baseball season without a defensive highlight from Kevin Kiermaier, the 3-time Gold Glove winner, flashing some leather. Okay, enough defense. I want offense. Ji-Man Choi. Hanguk Hwaiting, masked up, delivers with an RBI double. The Rays go on to win 4-1.
Great to have baseball back. You know, it's been strange watching the NBA back in action in empty, small gyms. No home court advantage going on there at all.
It's just silent. I think that's one of the craziest things to get used to.
Yeah, so what do the Jazz think about playing without the crowd? You'll hear that coming up.
Savion Skyler, touchdown, Utah State.
Next big question, will there be football in Logan this fall? And if so, how are the Aggies faring preseason, according to the coaches? That next.
Well, one of the biggest questions looming as we approach the fall, will college football season even happen in the midst of this pandemic? There is a lot of optimism out there. The Mountain West Conference, they're planning on it, and this week they released the preseason predictions for the upcoming football season.
And he may have it all. One block, Savion Skyler, touchdown, Utah State.
Oh, Savon, it would be good to see big plays from him this fall. The Aggies picked to finish 4th in the Mountain Division, according to the poll, though. Boise State received the most votes, followed by Wyoming, and then the Air Force Falcons. Utah State returns 13 starters from last season, and as of right now, their season scheduled to begin against Southern Utah on September 12th.
Savon Scarver also named to the preseason all-conference team as a kick returner. You just saw the highlight. That's a big part of why. Scarver led the Mountain West in return yards, 11th in the entire country. He returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns in 2019, one against Colorado State and the other against Nevada. It's not Nevada.
Nevada. He's got lightning speed. All right, the NBA season will officially restart in just 5 more days when the Jazz take on the Pelicans. It'll mark 4.5 months since the Jazz last played a game that actually had some meaning.
Wild. With 2 scrimmages down, 1 more to go, Utah trying to refine their identity in time to make a run at a title.
Coach Quinn Snyder, he's able to use these 3 scrimmages, though, to do some experimenting with his roster a little bit, including the starting lineup. With Boyan out, the starting lineup now features Joe Ingles in that spot. He's also going to rely more on Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson to pick up the scoring. When it comes to substitutions, well, Coach says, well, he's going to play whoever he needs to play. It'll vary on a game-by-game basis.
We had to do a better job of guarding. You know, I think as a whole, no matter what lineups we had, just being able to guard was the biggest thing that we really had to, I think, improve on from this game.
You know, when we are small, it's even more important. We're probably small, whether we have Royce in at times too, but we're smaller. And what that means is we've got to be better from a positional standpoint, and we just have to have more emphasis on the ball.
Shots. Well, during the coronavirus shutdown, the Jazz organization and fan base was shook with the news that Jerry Sloan had passed away after battling Parkinson's disease and Lewy body dementia. He's a basketball legend, and the Jazz, they want to honor him as such. For the remainder of the season, the Jazz will be wearing a black stripe on the shoulder and a black patch with the number 1223, which, of course, the total number of wins by Sloan with the Jazz.
Just expected for those of us that, you know, are part of the program. You can't talk about the Utah Jazz without talking about Coach Sloan. His impact, you know, really throughout the state of Utah, the organization, you know, players, fans, coaches, you just can't overstate it. You know, even in the shorter time that I had the opportunity to know him, there's nothing you can say other than he's a great coach and a great man.
What a legend. Can't help but notice all the fans behind him as well. These exhibition games are a little strange. There's no real home court advantage. All teams playing in small, empty gyms. The Jazz have noticed, but say when it comes down to it, you know, basketball is still basketball.
You know, we have a great fan base as far as being in the crowd and them getting loud and everything. And so to go from that to when you run out here come the Jazz, and then it's just silent. Like, I think that's one of the craziest things to get used to.
Getting ready for the layup lines, and there's literally nobody, cheering or anything like that. So it was kind of surreal at that point. But once the ball was tipped off, I think this is basketball, and we had a great time out there. It's good to be back. We've missed it, and we're looking forward to playing and learning this new style and this new environment.
We're still not done. Coming up, Jazz broadcaster Alema Harrington chats with Thurl Bailey.
Alema shares his experience in Oklahoma City when COVID shut the sports world down.
And the best video you'll see this week is here on SportsBeat. Top plays when we come back as well. Well, it's been a long process, but the sports world is slowly making a comeback, a much welcomed comeback from that night that it all shut down in Oklahoma City back in March. Broadcaster Alema Harrington was a part of the broadcast team for that Jazz Thunder game. He shares what it was like for him that night on this Thurl Talk podcast, the night that the sports world was shut down.
You were with Craig on the road. I was with Mike Smith on our set back here in Salt Lake City. That's right. Toss out to you guys for the start of the actual game broadcast. Our producers start to freak out a little bit, and freak out might be a little too dramatic of a term, but they start.
No, I think you hit it on the head. They freaked out.
They're trying to get us back, myself and Mike, back on the set, mic'd up and ready in case you guys were going to throw it back to us, because there was, some uncertainty as to where we were going.
Right.
But, from that point on, and I've shared this before, where, Mike Smith and I were walking to the parking lot from the arena, from Vivint. We go downstairs to the main floor, and we're walking out of the building and looking at each other going like, what just happened? And Mike lives in California, so he's, he would be flying back home for him. I'm like, is this it? Like, is the season done? Because at that moment, Adam Silver had made the announcement that it was postponed. The season was suspended, was the terminology. All of us struggle with uncertainty. Like I don't know what's going to happen. And the blessing, I think, for me in dealing with it was that the life lessons that I've learned through my addiction recovery and some of the work that I've done personally there is being in full acceptance of not knowing.
Gotcha.
And it's like being able to deal with that. And that doesn't mean I deal with that perfectly, because I don't. I get, panicky, scared. I can be driven by fear. But I had some tools to be able to say, it's going to be okay. Whatever it is, it's going to be okay. Man, I was in a spot where I was like, wow, like I don't know what's going to happen with the Jazz and how that's going to look. We all have contracts, but, this was, a circumstance that nobody had been able to predict. I can say this, like I was given lip service to like, oh, it's going to be okay. Yeah. But inside, man, I was scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Financial, and just security.
Yeah, for your family.
It's like, yeah. So that's kind of, and that's been the process for this whole time. And I've been blessed, fortunate to have support.
Yeah.
You're part of that support system, T. And other guys that are close to me in my recovery, and family that are there to kind of help us to get through this.
Amazing insight from our former KSL colleague Alema Harrington. Still more to come. Who doesn't love Dumb and Dumber? Well, the Washington Capitals definitely do. We have more next. We can't leave hockey out on SportsBeat Saturday. Tom Wilson and TJ Oshie showing some unique encouragement in the Capitals scrimmage on Friday. Flashes of Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels with their canes and an orange and sky blue tux, respectively, from Dumb and Dumber. Hey, whatever gets you going, right, Sam?
No doubt. Hey, hockey about to restart their season or get their season going as well, right? Seattle announcing the name of their future franchise,
the Kraken.
Gotta love that Seattle's getting a major pro sports franchise again.
Outstanding.
So, good deal. All right, thanks for joining us. Have a good night.